Welcome.
Ah!
Okay. Welcome to the Barrel Vision podcast. Coming at you a day late due to reasons that you don't need to know. It's on a need to know basis.
I went to a castle.
Yep. Because that's
That's
things.
that's actually the reason. Though.
That's just what British people do to pass the
That's what
time.
we do on a daily basis. So, after last week, we thought we probably need a little bit more structure to our podcast, perhaps.
Yeah.
After the poor display of last week's showing, so I thought we could talk about salt pits.
No.
That's a lie.
If
So-
you read the title, you'd know what this is going to be about.
Exactly. What can we expect from season 3? So last week, I said that based on the fact that we got the rough outline, the season 2 roadmap, like roughly a month into season 1, I said that we could actually expect news on season 3 about a week or 2 weeks from when we did the last podcast. Basically, this means that we're getting our ideas out there before anything's officially announced.
Yeah. Because it's
I
not
wouldn't call
long
this.
now.
No, it probably won't be. I think I'm going to say it just to be safe, or it seems like I'm being stupid, but I'm going to say within 2 weeks. Even though I said within 2 weeks last week, I'm still saying within 2 weeks until it happens.
Safe bet.
I wouldn't call this predictions necessarily. I feel like predictions comes when you have a little bit more, not details, but the rough outline. So once we know the type of content that's going to be added, we'll then predict the details.
Yeah.
And I guess there's certain things like, oh, if they're going to add more overclocks, I guess the Overclock Workshop series is our predictions for that, in a way.
Oh, detailed
Because it's
predictions
what-
at the
it's-
very
it-
least.
What comes down to it, although some of them we just let our imagination run wild because they're not actual official pitches,
Yeah.
it's in a roundabout way things that we would like to see added.
Yeah, definitely.
But before we get to that stuff, we do have some news. There was a patch today. What's it? Season 2, patch 4. So we're not going to go through this bullet point by bullet point. We would do that if we did a video on it, but we're not doing a video on it. But I can sort of give you the rundown. Mainly weapon balancing, which is interesting. Definitely the most thorough weapon balancing you've seen since the launch of Season 2. Things like reducing the plasma carbine's ammo. That's mainly what happened to the plasma carbine. The crossbow, basically all the special bolts got buffed apart from pheromones because they didn't really need it. Coil gun, re-atomized it, got changed to a clean overclock, and there's a bunch of other crap. The weirdest part, we'll talk about the shard diffractor because we can actually say stuff about that. But the weird part is probably the fact that they made any changes whatsoever to the Zukos and the stubby. So the Zukos, they increased the damage bonus of the conductive bullets, which is one does more damage to executed enemies, and increase the damage bonus of gas recycling. Which, do you have any space in your brain associated with overclock gas recycling?
I use gas recycling in one of the kind of silly builds where I just make my scout as fast as humanly possible. And yeah, I mean, I don't remember it being particularly good, but I remember it being fun.
It's an overclock that jacks up the base damage but removes the weak point bonus. Now, I didn't find this out until recently, and I'm not sure how to check this. I think Carl.gg might allow me to check it, but I heard recently, today, I think it was today, that the weak point damage bonus isn't the base weak point damage bonus, because the Zukos actually have an inherent weak point damage bonus, apparently, which was used to me as well. I need to look into this. Basically, I heard that it doesn't actually remove base. You still do weak point damage. It's the weapon's inherent bonus that's removed. But still, I did think gas recycling was slightly too weak. So the fact they buffed it pleases me. Okay, so the Zukos do have a base 15% weak point damage bonus over normal. Right, so Carl.gg says that gas recycling can no longer gain bonus damage from hitting a weak point. I don't know anymore. I don't know. And then with the subby, they moved some of the electrocution chance from the upgrade to the base weapon, which I don't think that's going to change things too much, to be honest. if you want to build that electrocutes very efficiently, it's probably going to stay the same, because I think they just made it so it's 25% base and you can add 25%, instead of it being 20% base and you add 30%. That's not going to change anything for me, I don't think.
I don't even know what the other two first tier upgrades are. I don't think I've ever
Damage and
picked them.
ammo.
Right.
They're both good. I mean, the damage is probably the least out of the bunch for me. Base damage. Anyway, we'll move on from these patch notes very soon, but we should talk about the shard diffractor thing. Mainly, there was some other stuff. Blitzing necrosis, you actually get weak point bonus shooting the boils. Oh god, they reduced the ammo bonus with mega power supply. Oh no. Oh dear. Right. So, in regards to the sorry, I'm just noticing all the other changes. They did something to barrels.
I did see a post on that.
So they made it sort of like a half-second delay or something every time you kick a barrel before you can kick it again. They reverted this change very soon. It was reverted. Don't worry about that. Anyway, shard diffractor. This is in regards to endothermic explosion, the notorious platform overclock. They renamed it to Plascrete Catalyst, which is fair. And they did make it stronger. They made it so it takes less time to trigger the explosion, and so the visual effects actually better explain what's going on, and so that it fully consumes the platform when you explode it. Which you said sort of makes it. Actually, I don't really know if you give much of a verdict on this. Something about they wanted to dissuade people from just cheesing it by just using it to increase damage instead of actually blowing up the platforms.
Right, no. Right. So the original overclock idea, which obviously a lot of things changed with the plasma subforce, you get the point. The original idea of that was to have it like increase AoE while also like beaming it and mirroring it around, right? Like that was what it originally was, or some bollocks like that. Never really even saw it be used. But then
I didn't either. I actually haven't seen any footage of it. I just realised I haven't seen any footage of platforms the beam reflecting off platforms. That's so weird.
Yeah. So and that was kind of what it originally was, but then for some reason or another they changed it, and they made it so when you're shooting a platform, it increases your AoE, which was the kind of thing. And to make it so you couldn't just shoot platform and AoE forever, they seemingly made it so the platform exploded. Except people mainly like that mod because of the platform explosion, which, as far as I read it as, at least, was the negative of that, in that you are limited in how much AoE you can have because eventually the platform will disappear via explosion. But now everyone's just using the explosion, and they just double down on it now, and that's just what the overclock really is. Like it is.
I think I'm probably going to like it more, to be honest.
I mean,
because endothermic reactor. Well, now I guess it's Plascrete Catalyst. It's a weird overclock, but it wasn't actually that unintuitive. Pardon me. Never actually felt that awkward to use, but it felt awkward to try and proc the explosions, and that's sort of what they've changed, in my opinion. It's made it more intuitive to actually use in the way it's intended. We'll see. I'll report on this next week. That's a lie. I'll forget.
Point is they have added a bunch of balancing for some reason for even older stuff, which is kind of weird, which kind of makes it seem like this patch might be a that's it for now kind of patch.
I said this when we initially talked about it. So a point that it also says here, and this is the last thing we'll talk about, I think, in regards to patch notes, the explosion now fully consumes all Plascrete within its effect radius. Now, I've seen footage of this new version of the overclock being used, and it did destroy the platform fully, but that point makes it to me sound like, because the explosion itself is bigger than the size of a platform, obviously. So it sounds to me like it will actually destroy a lot of platforms if they're all grouped together. It's going to take away they'll be gone, which to me is like a pseudo nerf, in that if you have like a roof of platforms, like say over your uplink module or something, and you blow one up, it's going to destroy them. It won't use them all as points for the explosion, but it will destroy most of your platforms. So you're really meant to use one at a time anyway. That's what I did anyway. There won't be lots of platforms.
It seems like it's just kind of reinforced. Well, it's obviously it's nerfed it and it clears out that one at least, but also this then means that you're now basically just placing platforms for the sole purpose of blowing it up. Like you're not just gonna like reuse other ones because you can get away with it. Now it's a commitment that like the sole life of the platform is to just die.
the goal of a platform's life is to die. Oh dear.
With that, it is. But yeah, so they have made some changes. I imagine they probably might do a little couple extra ones. Like, I'm not putting past them, but point is,
it's bug fixes, weapon balancing.
Season 3.
I imagine it's all we'll get until season 3. Although I'm not sure if there'll be any events between now and season 3. I can't imagine what they would be.
The only thing that could really occur is like a summer one that some games do.
Yeah, because there's a lot of holidays they just obviously don't care about because they're Danish. They don't do Independence Day. They're not going to do anything to the Platinum Jubilee that's coming up.
Coming up is today, Harry.
What?
Apparently, that's what Mum said.
God damn it.
But yeah,
yeah, the Queen's it's 75th year on the throne, I think. Why are we? Shut up. Let's talk about season 3.
Bring it up. But yeah,
I know.
Yeah. So basically, at this point in time, they are probably very much getting the cogs turning for next season. I mean, it probably has been since season 2 launch, but
I think they actually go into the planning stage fairly late. The official planning stage.
Well, I imagine as far as like brainstorming goes, they probably start like about as soon as they've done season 2's planning.
Well, probably earlier. I mean, official plan period is probably later thing.
Yeah, but coding wise,
when it's like what they come into the office to do.
Yeah, but like coding wise, they've obviously had their hands full balancing the new season, so they probably haven't really done much of that. But especially with this like kind of quite big batch. But basically, season 3's coming, and we want
within the next 3 months. We should assume because the plans are Q3 of this year.
And
so that's
even if
that's either July, August, or September.
Even if
it won't be July.
Yeah, even if it's like delayed somehow, it would still probably will know about basically everything by September, right? Because they like to basically tease stuff like a month in advance, right? We're gonna know, like enough, you know, before September.
I'm sort of picturing it would still feel fairly late to me, but I'm sort of picturing it will be out in the sort of time frame where everyone will have it before the end of September. That kind of time frame. It'll be like mid-September maybe, which means that console players we won't be getting it in like early October. We'll get it in September, but that's sort of what I'm picturing. It's the most reasonable expectation. September.
Well, that's only obviously depending on the size of the season. Because if it's as big as the last one, then obviously it'll be longer. But if it's as big as this one, then I guess it'll probably be about the same. And if it's smaller, we might get it in the more July area.
And we can't really predict that, but that sort of leans into
in the last podcast. We discussed how big seasons should be. So like assuming whatever the size is what we're currently going with.
Well, we should probably go into a point that I don't actually have this written down, but it's probably important. Is the point of how important season 3 will be, because 2 doesn't make a trend, but I think 3 does.
Yeah, I think like it's very much like obviously to notice patterns you need more than 2, but I think season 2 was really just season 1 part 2. Like it was
which is why season 3 becomes even more important, because we know it's moving away from
robots.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a completely clean slate as far as the season theme is concerned, and there's no more guns they can add. So both sides of the spectrum are going to be radically new as far as the season goes. So this and the way that it turns out will kind of show the future of the game, like how much seasons are going to add, like what are they going to contain, like stories and stuff. Like obviously not the stories, but like seasonal themes. Like how are they going to kind of do them more than just the robots appearing? Maybe now we're discovering, or maybe we're I don't know. we'll get into that.
But
point
to
is,
stop you from forcing us to talking about the theme, we'll quickly go over something not as season 3 related, or not about season 3's content.
God
Talking
forbid
more
we
about
talk about the
season
topic
1.
at hand.
No, this is topic at hand. This would be part of changes that will come in season 3. I'm not talking about season 3's content though. We're talking about season 1 and 2 content, mainly the seasonal content, like how it will be preserved, because we know what happens with the stuff in the past and the cosmetic tree. It gets put into all the other methods of obtaining cosmetics, and that's also the only way that they're going to be adding more, I think, to the current the pre-existing ways to get cosmetics. It will be overwhelming for new players, but thank God we have Phase Unite now.
Yeah,
For them.
Phase Unite is going to lighten the load. It's been pretty nice so far using it, especially since the pass and tree actually gives you a fair amount, and because you don't get a lot in the game, and you also get quite a bit in the store. You get enough Phase Unite. It is quite nice.
Anyway, so we know what's going to happen to the cosmetics. The main thing we don't know what's going to happen to, because we know Industrial Sabotage will probably just remain as it did. Obviously, we know we're moving away from the riot rules.
Industrial
but I think the mission will just stay as it is.
Industrial Sabotage. They mentioned that they might get rid of the robots. Right? Or, obviously, this was a while ago, but they mentioned that they would be fine with, not fine with, but when asked what they're going to do with the seasonal content, they were like, with the robots, we might kind of delegate them, or reduce them or get rid of them. But as far as Industrial Sabotage is concerned, they never even so much suggested they would remove. That is staying.
Yeah, but
right?
that sort of Industrial Sabotage and Rival Presence represent one half, while the seasonal events represent another half, and those are the things that need to be delegated. As in, I think we've both agreed that they'll probably just move all the seasonal events into Rival Presence. Yes, but what purpose will they serve after season 2?
No, seasonal events aren't just going to be in Rival Presence. Seasonal events are even just going to continue to be a thing, because why remove it? Or they'll be removed. You can't just get events that are specific to only certain warnings or missions. That's not how the events work. It's just, yeah, they're either going to be just a lot rarer, and they'll just pay out minerals or something like that, or they will just be straight removed from the game. And to be honest with you, I can see them being removed.
I can, but the problem is I have better ideas that are slightly too ambitious, like adding them as secondary objectives for deep dives or something, Why
not just secondary objectives, full stop?
I don't know, because to me, just in the vanilla gameplay, those things need to be mostly put aside, which is why a secondary objective for... See, it doesn't really work for Industrial Sabotage, because you don't get seasonal events in Industrial Sabotage, which is weird.
You don't get any events.
That's how it is. Yeah, you can get machine events. Oh, can you? Fuck.
I've not played enough to really know. But...
I have. I definitely have. I forced myself to, and I can't remember. So Industrial Sabotage is weird. I suppose I could see... I feel like they would... So you think it's less likely that they'll just be moved... They stay as they are, but they're just moved into Rival Presence only? You think that's less likely than them being removed entirely?
I think
my idea.
Then...
I think that's more likely than that.
Right. Well, Harry, admittedly, they would probably want to rework them, but I think it is... having events only be in certain warnings is ridiculous. I'm sorry, but only certain mission warnings, which are also, there's going to be significantly less Rival Presence warnings coming out of this, right? It's going to probably be as, if they're still in the game, they're going to be as rare as Haunted Caves and stuff like that.
But I think the point will be that they will keep stuff around, but they will actually greatly minimize the presence of
but every 1 in 30 missions, let's say, has a Rival Presence warning, and in that Rival Presence warning there is the current chances of the seasonal events spawning.
It will be basic guaranteed is how it would work.
But then those events are basically the same as the turreted caves, the turret system. That's already there. That's a thing in Rival Presence. They don't need anything more in it. I honestly I can't see them just adding 3 new seasonal events. That's basically like making machine events only on like a haunted cave or like something like that. Like this, doesn't that sound ridiculous? Obviously it does because I've said haunted
Well,
cave. But
it's not that ridiculous because we're dealing with new ideas, the ideas of
yeah, but
how
just
they want
because
to
they're new
handle
doesn't mean they're
themed
good.
content. But we're dealing with the idea of how they want to handle outdated content in terms of theme. The rival presence, the rival related events will be outdated because the theme will change. So we
Yeah.
don't know exactly how they view that and how that will translate to their actions regarding it. It's a different situation, just machine events that are completely unrelated to anything. That's the point. It was their relation to other things in the game that sort of confounds me as to how they're going to go forward with it. Like the deep dive thing, you said, why don't they just make it a secondary objective in all missions? Well, they can't do that because they're too difficult to just be secondary objectives. That's why normal secondary objectives are just collect shit, and then on deep dives, the second objective is a minimized primary objective, and you can have things like a black box, or collect eggs, or kill a dreadnought. That's why it works, in my opinion, for deep dives, but maybe at 2 put away at the same time.
Well, and that's the
Don't know.
thing, that the deep dives, their secondary missions are primary objectives. Obviously, that doesn't have to always be the case, and they could do what you do, like what you say they do. But they could, I don't know. I think a prospector probably, well, maybe I don't know, like a prospector hunt down a prospector as a secondary mission, and then you'll go in there knowing there's a prospector or something like that, which is less so. But I'm really mainly just thinking like of the hacking data pod. I think I could see the hacking thing be a thing, and not like the radar dish that needs to be removed immediately. But like I could see that being some form of one of a secondary mission, just like hack. Point is, I honestly, the more I think about it, the more I could see them just removing them. Like I really I don't see the need of them sticking around, other than they're just content, and removing content isn't as nice. Like really. But I don't know. It's
So why not just have it be just rival presence then? That's just as good for me.
because it's
But they're still there.
yeah, but it's.
But
I
then
don't,
comes the question of what
what's the
purpose do they now
reward?
serve?
Yeah,
Exactly. I know, you're right. They just turn it into credits and XP. I don't know.
right? But then
It's just
you're
boring.
going into rival presence knowing damn well that you're going to get even more XP and gold, like than just the because
No, but in
modifiers.
this case, I guess it wouldn't be guaranteed. I guess.
So then you'll never find them.
No, but it's still better than I still think it's better than removing them.
I don't know.
Um,
I mean, obviously, yeah, they're in the game, which is nice, but you might as well just rip the band-aid off at that point.
Yeah. So I think we can say with certainty what will happen to the rival presence warning. The rival presence warning will just become like any other warning.
I think
Industrial
so, yeah.
sabotage. I'm not sure if they'll do anything like change how
I
it is
think
already.
it depends if they intend on adding other game modes. Because other game modes, I imagine they'll be like industrial sabotage, and then it'd be kind of weird if both were going on at the same time. But as far as it is currently, you could just leave it. They're already a pretty rare mission that you only really have to
Yeah,
select if you want to do it.
I
Like,
still like the idea of it being used as a finisher for assignments, especially seeing as escort duty so often comes up in that slot, and I'd rather do an industrial sabotage. I'd rather be forced to do industrial sabotage than escort duty.
yeah, because industrial sabotages are fun. Meanwhile, escort duty is the worst thing ever, and I'll get into that at some other point. But yeah, I mean, I think industrial sabotage is definitely going to remain. Maybe it might be pulled out of circulation sometimes, like.
This set won't always be there.
Yeah,
it
maybe
might be
1 in
more
3.
normal too. Like you could maybe get more than one, but also maybe not.
No,
I don't know.
I don't think so. But like, it is already very out of the norm as far as like they've already kind of pulled back. Like it was introduced as only one of them around at all times, and you don't have to do it ever really, except for the.
I mean, they know
special
it's
mission.
hard. They know it's hard. There's a reason why it's not deep dives.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's an event game mode, so they knew they couldn't invest fully into it either.
But you know what, man? An elite deep dive, I think it's welcome as far as I'm concerned. It's an elite deep dive.
I don't think it's welcome by any means. I think that would be absolutely.
It's only not welcome
heart-wrenching.
because elite deep dives are generally quite actually doable, and for people who are trying to get overclocks. it needs to stay that way.
I think maybe if there was some form of deep dive that is harder than Elite Deep Dive, like it's like 5 missions long and the final mission is an industrial sabotage, in that it's a grand finale of something.
Well, yeah, people sort this has been thrown around sort of a little bit,
Because
and I believe in the idea. It's not.
it
really,
is the biggest, greatest, grandest boss fight that the game currently has, and for it to be delegated like it is isn't a bad idea. It's just kind of sad, in that, like, you know,
a bad idea, just a sad idea.
yeah, like I as much as I enjoy it, I very rarely play it because there's no need really, and it
Yeah.
is quite a lot of effort for I don't think that much reward, to be honest. Like I don't really know how much it pays out. So,
I've got something.
have you got AIDS?
So they've attained the challenge for the season of challenges of collecting a data rack, which basically just means complete industrial sabotage. I think that challenge will disappear, but I think what will be added, with the ones where it's complete pre of this mission, I think they might add it to that challenge, and then there'll be a potential way of giving people a reason to do it. But then again, it's also when it's joined with another mission, I feel like people will go for the easier one, which will be whatever the other one is. So maybe that wouldn't work. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with industrial sabotage. We know what happened with presence.
Honestly,
what we don't know about is what's going to happen to the Nemesis.
well, right.
That one can just be delegated to rival presence because it already is.
Because
Yeah.
I think industrial sabotage honestly can be left as it is so out of the way. Yeah, if you want to do it, it's there. That is perfectly reasonable. But yeah, if you actually want to fight the robot enemies, that then they're not going to be completely removed from the game. That would be ridiculous. Like, it's just not happening. They're sticking around. Rival presence was their way of adding them to the game, basically. Like that was them being added as a normal mission. And I think the Nemesis, honestly, I think there's a very valid chance that the Nemesis could still spawn in normal missions. Like, very rarely.
Narratively, it doesn't make any
I suppose, but it's basically like a Crassius. It's kind of already there in the when it spawns like that. So it could, but obviously, yeah, the Nemesis rival presence, like it currently is, like rival presence should be just as it is now, just significantly rarer. Because now it's like every like place has a rival presence, but yeah, it will be like every 1 or 2 cycles there'll be or maybe there's one in every cycle or something like that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the Nemesis is effectively already delegated. You can only get one on a normal mission, but multiple can spawn in rival presence. So it's sort of already half the work's already done. It's just like they probably will remove it from normal missions, but that's all they'd have to do if they're going to do that. So that covers that. I think.
Yeah.
All right, it's over. Let's go home. No. Well, then, I'm not sure if I actually cared too much to talk about this, so I can't really think of what I would even say. But I do have written down here stuff about changes that could happen to the performance pass cosmetic tree. I'm not sure if it'll be different next season. Like, I've just seen the same kind of thing. I know what I want. Is there to be more cosmetics, or it's more different cosmetics. We've been through this, but particularly more paint jobs actually, because those to me can't be harder to make than pretty much any other type of cosmetic, and they're the things I find myself looking forward to unlocking the most in the performance pass. So, more paint jobs, please. Or
skin colours. Haven't added one of those.
I don't think we'll be seeing many changes systems-wise, though. I think the cosmetic tree will look fairly similar, and I think the good thing about the cosmetic tree, I initially would have leveled this as a criticism that most of it's just taken up by a single framework, but I like the idea of getting a new framework every season. And speaking about the company's development cycle, realistically, it's probably very helpful to them to use a framework as filler. I don't necessarily like it, but it's better filler than most things.
Yeah.
Anything else.
I mean, considering, I don't know, normally most games they have like charms as fillers, So that's
I do want weapon charms. So
yeah.
you can do that if you want. But I don't think we're really going to see any changes on from a system level. I think especially with the seasonal bonuses where you can get scripts for doing seasonal events. I think they'll keep that the same
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, I mean they doubled it ish for a reason.
I think it was it +5 or something? Was it like 18 now? I don't know.
I don't know. They just under doubled it because people completed them immediately, which is fair. And I think that still probably is the case. But actually, I've not completed them all yet. I've still got one left to go.
I did it a while ago.
I can imagine you have played a lot. But yeah, I think I think it's gonna be the same. But obviously, it's not gonna be data cells anymore. It's gonna be whatever the new event is, whatever the rule.
Dwarf brains.
Harry, you're really fond of the like parasitic dwarfs idea, right? Point is, yeah. No,
Well, like I said, I didn't really have much I want to say about that. So we could just skim over it.
yeah. I think it's fine.
Fuck the performance pass.
But if they make the season smaller, then they might reduce it a bit. Bigger, maybe add some more, hopefully, but probably not
By
actually.
all means. Actually, you know what? Not by all means, because frankly, it's the performance pass that keeps me playing at this point. Right. We move on now to. We've got to just. We have to discuss the theme, I guess. I don't really want to make any big predictions, but at the same time, I don't think the roadmap won't give us the theme if the roadmap is the same as the season 2 roadmap. It's not going to give us the theme.
The only thing that we need to predict now, because it's going to be like spoiled, but like announced, is like the other thing. Like there's the seasonal stuff, and then there's like the new guns, for example.
Yeah, I have it written down here as equipment element, which is a weird terminology, but are we going to see any additions to our arsenal as we have for both updates, or both seasons? But the point is, they've both been weapons.
Yeah, once again,
weird, this is why season 3 is so important, because we know that certain things are going to be different, and it's sort of going to give us. I don't know. It's going to, I guess, set the bar in a way. Season 3 will.
Like, I think it obviously it kind of will, but if we get like this is just obviously a pretty strong theory. I imagine a lot of people would overclocks, right? If we were to just get like a bunch of overclocks, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 of each gun, I mean that's obviously quite a lot.
Whoa!
No, I think
slow down, Kel.
I think you need.
I've done the math in my head, and I know what you're going to say, but it's still too much.
No. 4 entirely new guns is nowhere near as much effort as like 3 or 4 overclocks. Especially considering I imagine one of each of those 4 or 5 is going to be just a bit more damage. Like you cannot actually make that argument, right? Obviously, if it's a smaller update,
hold on, I don't
sure.
understand. I can't tell if one's the same side here or not.
4 or 5 overclocks per gun. Extra. Are you saying that's too much or too little?
Too much.
It isn't. Comparing it to the right. Obviously, it is a lot, right? But like the simplicity of the, I imagine at least one of those. Okay, I'm gonna go with 4 more realistically. This more like probably one of those 4 on each of these guns are going to be a very simple one, right? So that is now like 3 interesting overclocks.
No, because so now we're going to move this sort of into the realm of, let's assume that our new equipment edition is going to be overclocks.
Yeah.
In my head, it's like they're not. It doesn't have to match the amount of work it takes to produce 4 new guns. So to me, it's like what it would actually be if they added new overclocks. It's at least 1 for every weapon, and none of them are cleans. That's actually what runs through my head. My ideal is 2, and none of them are cleans. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I mean, so you would actually be happy if they added 1 new overclock to each gun?
No, that's my lowest expectation.
Yeah, but at that point, why bother? You know what I mean? Like,
but 2 I think is good enough. 2 for every weapon. That's 48 new overclocks.
I suppose.
Which you get 24. That's the amount that was added over the course of season 1 and 2.
Yeah,
which is why 2 per gun is acceptable in my opinion.
So then maybe, considering they're not adding new guns, maybe they add an extra 1 at least. to then equal that. So I think 3 is a very reasonable thing. 4,
3 is probably one of each is reasonable. One of each category, I think,
I,
is actually reasonable.
well, the thing is, I don't want to say things like that, because some guns, they need way more of some than others. Like, I was looking at the Bulldog, it has 1 clean and like 3 balanced, or like 4 balanced. It was just a stupid amount.
And the
like,
Zookals have 3. The Zookals have 3 unstables.
Yeah.
And the Boomstick has 4 cleans.
Yeah.
The weirdest one.
It needs to just kind of balance it out as much as it can. Although obviously I don't want them not to do some good ideas if they come up with some. But
yeah,
like, I don't know. Point is that if that's like the only thing they're really doing, like, to be honest with you, Harry, they could do both of not just overclocks, right? They add like your 2 overclocks and then they add a bunch of perks. I think that would be reasonable. Right, like that, like, because perks are probably the other thing that I imagine a lot of people are asking for and would come under like equipment, like character changing items, or like but like, yeah, I mean, at this point, if perks were like the only things really, then you'd need a lot of them. Like, yeah, you'd need to, like, I don't know, and they'd be quite complicated. Because, I don't know, there's a lot of... It's like, the guns are so much content, right? And I get that...
I know, but the point is, I don't want them to match that, because that means it will take less time.
Yeah, but we've gone through that taking it less time isn't a valid... Like, that doesn't inherently mean it's good, right? Just because we're getting the content quicker doesn't mean it's better, right? Maybe it's better that we wait an extra couple weeks so we get like 2 to 3 new overclocks per gun, right? Instead of the 1 or 2, we get 2 to 4, right? Maybe it's worth that a bit extra time. Especially considering, as mentioned, the more they release, the more seasonal stuff they're going to have to make, and we don't want to overwhelm them, right? There's a small team, all right? Like, you can't expect the world from them, and we need to give them the time while also getting what we would expect in that time. Which
it's a little bit odd, because you're asking for a lot more than I am, so... Because
yeah,
you said something like, I haven't said it on recording, but you said like they need to add like at least double amount of perks or something. I don't.
Yeah, because there's not that many perks, and they're not that game changing. It's statistics change most of the time, right? Like, obviously there would be some new game features, but it's not like radical. It's not new guns. Right, the amount of new things they added for each of the new guns, not to mention all the overclocks for them, and there's like designs for them, all of the overclocks. It's so much effort's been put into all of these, right? That, like, obviously they don't have to match that, and that's kind of the point of season 3. With season 3, we'll find out if they intend on keeping the same amount of content as the guns to the other section. But
I believe they want to stick to actually to help with their workflow. I think they're aiming to stick to like a minimum of 4 months between seasons. So
yeah,
I'd say that equates to like that. That to me, I think season 2 is fairly representative of that amount of time, maybe with a little bit cut off. I think the amount of work in season 2 sort of reflects 4 months. I think that's probably fair, so we can roughly expect that much. So I can see overclocks and perks being added.
Yeah, like a couple overclocks, couple perks. Like, as much, like, I think as much as you're expecting individually, I think I could expect combined. Given that they put time in, like a lot of time into it, because I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know how much time it takes for them to do anything. We're not in anywhere near experienced in this stuff. But, like, I'm kind of going off what they've done now and done in the past when they were a smaller team. Like, new perks and new overclocks do not have to be that revolutionary, right? They will not take that much time. Like,
well, they will if they try and take our ideas.
Well, yeah. Obviously, yeah.
Sorry, I'll correct myself. My ideas.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. But, like, still, yeah. Like, we got our clean ones that are like ads done, or like they add just an effect already there to the weapon or stuff like that, add a bit more ammo. Like, you know, that is not going to take a week of dedication. You know what I mean? That'll take like an afternoon of stuff to then probably get wrong, and it'll be like a bug, but whatever. Uh,
On the other end of the extreme end is the idea of. No, actually, I'm not going to go there. I was about to say something about new overclock categories, but it's not going to happen.
yeah.
There's no real reason for it to happen. It's like what it would be.
I mean, they're already
like silly
arbitrary
stuff.
as is, right?
I don't. The only thing a new category could be is either trivial overclocks that just make you go into confetti, or like some stupid overclock that's like locked to they're like perfect overclocks or something where they're like really overpowered, but you can only use them like double warnings or some shit. There's no real category that can be added that makes much sense.
And
Unless it's too
as
specific.
is, the balanced and unstable are basically the same thing. So it's not like
they are. They really are. They
Yeah.
just are.
like there's not really a gap or anything. It's literally clean, no negative, and then whatever they so damn feel like. That's it. That's what overclocks are, which is perfectly fine, right? Like they don't really need to be anything more, anything less. So
Just change them to be clean and unclean.
it's dirty overclocks.
Dirty.
They're just only negatives. Oh.
No.
Well, they said that they wanted to have like they'd rather have debuffs than increase the difficulty. I don't think anyone's going to be happy if they decide to do this, but all I'm saying is that is actually kind of valid. I think that could be an idea.
Handicap clocks. Was that right? No, not handicap.
No, it would be
Chelsea.
dirty because of clean, clean
Yeah,
and dirty.
dirty clocks.
Yeah, and yeah, only negatives, which would be interesting to play with, but
Your weapon will jam randomly, or fly out of your hands, or explode.
when your weapon overheats, it just snaps in half, and you don't have it anymore. But no, yeah, I don't know. I think overclocks and perks are like the most stereotypical and safest bets. Right, they're not bad shouts. No one's going to argue if they add or they rework the perk system or add more perks. Right, same with the overclocks.
If we are going to make any predictions, I'm going to say this: at least in season 3 or 4, we'll get either new perks or new overclocks.
I think that is a very safe bet because there really isn't much more space for additional stuff as far as that
new
stuff is
support and
concerned.
traversal tools.
Well, this is the thing. This is not additional. This is just brand spanking new. Like this is like yeah. So I guess we'll just pitch this now, just in case by some miracle this is actually what's going on in their mind as well. And I think we've actually said about this before, but we think that instead of a new class, right, they should just add new terrain and not terrain, movement.
Traversal tools and support tools.
Yeah.
They're called.
Yeah, they should just add those because theoretically, right, they will be new classes. Because what are new classes? New classes are new weapons and new terrain and so forth, and grenades, I guess, as well. I mean, we'll just mention grenades. They could have new grenades, but I don't think any.
I keep forgetting about that. I mean, that sort of brings me to though. Do we sort of want to like lay out if we want to do it one by one? All the different things that a single season could add in those regards. So, not necessarily combining them. Let's not think, oh, they can add perks and overclocks in one season. Let's just think like, okay, so in one season they could add overclocks, they could add perks, they could add traversal tools, they could add support tools. They could do those separately. They could add new grenades. What else is there?
Well, that's why I asked you to find.
Weapons.
Yeah, I asked you to find some of the older roadmaps. Because these are things that they
title/badge system proposed in 2018.
yeah titles and badges were an idea which we weren't aware of when we pitched them. Actually, I think we probably have read that, right? Because we were probably playing around then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did this stuff and thought, oh, daily adventures. When are they going to come out?
Yeah.
Little did we know.
Yeah, so there are some ideas that they've had in the past, but was never really implemented, which they might go back to now and start implementing them. Like, well, not really like, but there was like adventure mode, wasn't there?
Yeah, exploration mode.
Yeah, which probably isn't going to be a thing, but it's ideas that
That
they.
wasn't even in like the list of like maybes. That was slated for November 2018.
So that was something that they were straight up gearing ready to go, and it was never added, which says something, right? But it makes sense considering that they wanted to. They're inspired by Minecraft, so they would have had more something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of ideas that they kind of made and posted on roadmaps that they never really added. And overclocks were kind of one of them. When they added overclocks, they intended to add more, and they didn't really ever, not including obviously the new ones for the new guns. They never really added on to the older ones.
Yeah.
They reworked the perk system once, but I think they're probably overdue for another one.
Yeah, that was. They do feel slightly outdated because that went from perks being primitive to what they are now, and nothing has changed since. It was like the first version of perks, then what we have now.
Yeah.
So, I think it's overdue. But frankly, moves away from this, I think we'll cap this part off with. I think overclock's actually the one of the most likely, and I think you might agree. We talked about this a little bit because we think maybe they just want to finish off all of the.
I think
Arsenal
it's either
stuff.
one or the other. I think, as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be next one's overclocks, so they've got guns done. Right, they do not have to touch guns for like another 2-3 years.
2 years, yeah.
Right, or they're gonna wait until these guns are actually balanced, and so wait a season or two, and like people have gained opinions and exploited them, and they've nerfed them, and like all stuff like that, and then they're gonna add a new layer of overclocks so it doesn't break them. But I think it's over there. So it's, as far as I could guess and personally think would be a shout, it's either next season or like season 5 or 6, right? Yeah.
Okay, I think. No. I think probably going to get them this year. I think probably going to get new overclocks this year.
So next season.
It's season 4. Oh yeah, season 4 is probably going to be. No, maybe not. I'll go back on that. Not necessarily this year because season 4
just
would
next
be 2023. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but so yeah, overclock's very good shout. I think we move on. What's the?
Well, yeah, we should move on. I don't know what more we can say about that. Stuff to do with theme and seasonal content, obviously added. So I don't know how much we want to tackle theme.
Because this is the kind of stuff that we're only going to learn like a month and a half to month before the actual season drops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we only learned that this season was called like whatever it's called, escalation, so on and so forth. Like a week or two before the not patch.
So let's not try and guess anything detailed or propose anything detailed, but I do feel our hearts are ever so slightly set on the idea of some kind of new thing. A new thing to see. We sort of like the idea of DRG being more proactive, and that whatever the theme is revolves around something new that the company's trying to do, rather than an obstacle they're trying to overcome, like a new an expedition to the core or something like that. We like this idea, where it's a new biome to explore. That being the point of a season, where it's an expedition to that new biome.
And I think
and that's how they can incorporate a new biome into being a seasonal thing.
And we also call it right. So obviously, and I don't think this is relevant now specifically, but like there's going to be events, right? That's going to be a thing, right? There's going to be a seasonal event or 2 or 3 maybe if they're smaller. But point is, there is going to be seasonal events, and that is going to be a thing. But there is also like a bigger thing, right? And probably maybe enemies. Enemies is a theme.
The main gameplay elements. So far we've had a mission type and a mutator. A
mutator, which leaves not much. Really, it could somehow be a what's the opposite of the mutator? What's the
an anomaly?
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
It probably won't be, but that is an option. That could be an option. You know, especially if, and I guess we'll do this because this ties in pretty well. I've ruined it now that I've said that. But point is, with new biomes, which is kind of the only really next thing. I mean, we have got biomes fairly recently, though. I mean, what, 4 updates ago we got the hollow bow on that, which
I think it's a little bit longer than you think.
I mean, obviously time wise,
no.
time
You're right.
wise,
It's actually about 3 updates ago.
yeah, time wise, it's been like probably 2 years, but
It's been less than 2 years.
yeah,
It's been more than a year, but it's less than 2 years.
yeah. So as far as like what they tend to do, as in the gaps they leave between things, Biome would be different. But then I've just been reminded of the fact that the game modes were added after the biomes, which were then followed up by another game mode with industrial sabotage. So Biomes is on the table. I just realised it is. Honestly, that is probably a shout that it's going to be a new biome.
I mean, well, when we take a look back to before both the new missions were added and new biomes, we know that industrial sabotage was prototyped with duty and on-site refining. They were originally prototyping 3 missions, not because the plan was to introduce 3 missions in one update, but they were prototyping 3 for ones that would become what the update was about. And they sort of put industrial sabotage in the back seat but then they picked it up again for the next update.
It might have been more that they grew. They thought this can be bigger. Right?
And in regards to biomes, they had one that they were working on,
did.
Caustic Maya, and then they switched gears. So we don't know if any physical work was done on that.
Which, for anyone who doesn't know, it was replaced with the hollow bruh.
Thinking about the idea of what Caustic Maya is going to be, I wouldn't want. I don't actually care for it to be added. It wouldn't make sense.
I mean, right.
To be tied in seasonally.
I think
we do know they were working.
We're gonna
Hollow Bow.
And they at no point in time did they dislike Caustic. They just liked the hollow brow just too much. They literally
brow.
Yeah.
Are you saying that on purpose?
I don't know how to say it, and I'm just saying it how I think I'm saying it. Right? Literally, they just preferred hollow brow over the Caustic. They didn't hate the Caustic. They just didn't like it as much as the other one.
By the way, I've been seeing some hollow bow slander recently, and I'm not happy about it.
Right.
I'm not happy because I love hollow bow, and I don't like Azure Wield. Because the Azure Wield slander is earned because it does happen, and it's earned because it's like
the hollow bow is such albeit very terrain annoying, right? But that's not a bad thing. Inherently, right? I think
my biggest problem with it is the massive red vines that act as terrain. They're my biggest problem.
I suppose, but they're also really fucking cool. I mean, obviously, right, terrain being difficult doesn't make a thing bad, right? Magma Core, that's its whole premise. Like, it is how god awful the place is, right? That's
I'd say it applies more to Sandblast Corridors because Sandblast Corridors has massive caves filled with very little.
Well, yeah,
kind of boring.
but that's the kind of feel though, right? Like you can't say that though, Harry. I think you're right, but you're wrong, right? That's like if a game was set in a desert and they made it really close and compact and everything, it wouldn't feel like a desert. You know what I mean? It's gameplay, it's game design, it's map design. The desert maps feel empty and vast.
It sometimes does make Sandblast Corridors one of the most satisfying to fight in because you do often have big open spaces.
Yeah,
which is better for combat usually at least.
And
traversal not so much.
And the hollowed bruh is the opposite of that. Basically, it seems I was talking over you, but I heard you say that it's basically the same kind of size as the Sandblasted, but
the caves are a similar size. Hollow Bow has increased cave size to accommodate for all of the stuff.
So it would be like a big, nice wooded kind of area, but then it's been infested with the red vines, which is honestly, from a visual standpoint, fucking amazing, right? It looks amazing, like the blood red spiky vines and like the nice wooden thing. It just looks awesome as hell.
Hollow Bow is just my favourite conceptually and aesthetically.
Yeah,
and it's got cool shit in it. It's got sticky goo things you can explode.
Maggots, which I hate.
I like the vines. That annoying. They don't really get. They're not very annoying. They're satisfying to watch them move out the way.
I think it would be pretty. Not that most things attack
the red sugar pockets. I don't know if you've noticed these. They are real. They're just pockets in the wall sometimes with red sugar in them.
You show me them sometimes, but I think All About is really cool, and you can tell why they chose that over the caustic, because I imagine the caustic one probably is quite nice as well. I imagine it's like I think there was actually visuals for it, right? Like there was
It just looked like a horrible like place with
is it like
acidic
yeah
geysers.
yeah, which makes sense, right? And as much as I probably wouldn't want it to be added because it's going to hurt, but I think most places are, and I think it's probably going to be a pretty appealing one. I imagine it's going to have like yellow walls because that's kind of what happens when things
Like
get
limestone.
acidy. Yeah, and then there'll be like acid lakes, which will be pretty sick.
Like piss. Like
Yeah,
piss. Piss the biome.
it'll be piss coloured biome, which I think is of interest. But that's probably the most realistic guess if they were to add a biome is that, because they already have it made, right?
Oh,
And they know they like it, just not as much as the other one, right? So they could definitely add it, right?
we
And
don't know how much work they did on it. We knew it was probably more than the other one because there were concepts for other biomes that they showed, but
yeah, but I
we
mean
know
they
the
switched
Caustic biome must have been further along because it's the
they
only one
switched it
apart
out
from-
pretty late, and they had to delay
Yeah.
because of it, right? So
Yeah.
they put some
Yeah,
form of
yeah,
effort
they
in.
did.
But so there's already the work's partly done, and they already know that they like it, and it's been developed, and the fans are aware of it. So it's very valid of a biome, but there could be others still. There,
I think biome's likely because not because it's necessarily a fallback, but I'm not. I guess because it's sort of the other side of missions and biomes make up the core gameplay variety.
I have
creates
thought-
the variety. So what else is there apart from mutators and anomalies? We can include anomalies, but there's thinking outside of all that stuff. I don't know what else there is.
Yeah.
Unless they introduce something brand new.
And that's the thing. But I'm thinking of like already, and I wouldn't say this is a big issue, but it has been irking me that there really isn't enough missions for enough maps. And I know it's on purpose, right? But like 4 of the maps are always unavailable, right? They add a new one, that's just going to make it 5, right? Like adding a new biome isn't anything if they don't add any more missions, right? They need to add not like new variety of missions, just more mission choice, right? Because at this point there's just going to be too many biomes to really like. It's just gonna be so empty. Like, and if they keep adding like biomes and season exclusive missions, then there's just not really. There's gonna be more places you can't go than you can go.
Frankly, I think they should, as it stands, they should open another one up anyway.
Yeah, yeah, really. I can only imagine that it's on them. Like they can't run having more than the.
Just reduce the amount of missions then of individual biome, I guess.
Yeah, because like some of them, you can get up to like probably 6, but 6 of them, 5 normal missions, and
I think I've seen more. I feel like I've seen more than 6.
Yeah, like you can get a lot in one biome, and then obviously you have like 4 of them and none. And especially now with the daily stuff, like daily missions, that there'll be biomes that you need to play in that could just not be in cycle for so long. Like that both of them could just not be in cycle forever. Like obviously not forever, but like with it used to be just like 2 that you couldn't play. And that was, not preferable, but most of the time you would be able to get the one you want to play after like a cycle. Like it wasn't going to be the same 2. But now you could easily have the same 2 missions go on to just not be able to play. But yeah, so I think biomes, if they would do a biome, which I think is perfectly valid, they would need to spread out the missions more or add more missions to select, because yeah, more biomes is inherently more biomes with how their current system is. Like you might not be able to even play the caustic mires for like the first week or like a couple hours of it being out, depending on how the luck goes. Like, yeah. So I don't know. But as far as seasonal stuff, once again, this is what season 3 would, because this is what makes sense with the current theme of what they've added, right? But season 3, they could add a completely new system and a new seasonal occurrence, right? It could be
It will really throw me off if, like, because we're treating it like season 3 will be trend set. It will sort of let us know how things are going to go.
Yeah.
Right? But what if it just throws a curveball at us and it's just something completely new. That would just be the
Yeah,
most blindsiding thing, and I
like
love it.
like season 3 adds open world or something like that.
Like surface expeditions or some
Yeah,
crap. Because obviously, like the surface has been proposed as like a normal biome by some people, but I don't see that really being possible.
why
It has to
who
be
mines on
something.
the surface? That's not how that works.
Well, it would be a particular location or like a biome. Like maybe there's like a thing where sometimes like a cave system has been exposed to the surface, and that could be a thing that could occur in any biome just randomly. It could be framed as a mutator, but that could be quite an extreme thing that transcends what anything is really. But
Yeah.
it's not a whole new experience, but be like it basically just be a cave but without the roof and lower gravity.
Yeah.
Or you could actually get lost in space. I don't know.
And I suppose, well, yeah, that's it, right? Like big gameplay element in the seasonal thing, seasonal challenges, and then otherwise the only other theme, the only or of it other than the theme, is enemies. So far, they have added
Well, yeah,
at
this is the
least a
thing,
new
though, isn't
enemy
it?
every season.
Well, this is the thing, though, because we don't know that a new gameplay element like a mission, a mutator, a biome is necessary. It could come in the form of just adding new enemies.
A ton of new enemies, yeah.
Well, not a ton, maybe like 3 or 4.
Well,
Which is quite a few,
adding a
but-
new biome would inherently add new enemies because they seem to very like at this point having at least friendly
Well-
enemies or aggro enemies be a thing. You know what I mean?
You are right, but in Hollow Bow, it was just the wasps again.
Yeah, and maggot stabbervines.
Stabvines, sorry, Stabvines, they're sick.
Yeah, and I feel like that because that would also then kind of make sense what they currently be doing, like the new robots, right? That as much as it is new enemies, they are very much to do with the theme. You know what I mean? Like they are the robots have arrived, so therefore we have robots, and the robots have now want to kill you, so now there's a robot specifically designed to kill you. Like it would make sense, and it wouldn't really make sense if there was just like, okay, there's a new caustic Myers, so now there's a bunch of new variants in all the other biomes. It wouldn't really make sense. You know what I mean? Like it's like unless they were like, oh, something's awoken or some shit like that, right? Like the caustic Myers has improved the biodiversity in the
Yes.
Hoxies and some excuse like that. But
Honestly, I think the thing I'm most interested to see from season 3 is what's not in it. What if they omit something like a new equipment or a new massive gameplay element? What if something isn't there? And I'm not saying it's not about what's necessarily in its place. But it is about what's in its place. Does that mean they put more work into the other aspects? Like, are they not doing any kind of new equipment, like Overclock sort of things, so they can do more thematically focused content? I don't know, and that's why season 3 is so goddamn important.
yeah,
I don't really know how to say what you can reasonably expect from it.
I think honestly, the only thing that we can comfortably say that we should expect from season 3 is the future of DRG. What we are going to get in store for the rest of the game, basically, is.
Oh yeah, I suppose one way or another it will make things more certain because we either know how things are going to go for the most part, or we know that it's going to be very unpredictable. If we are completely blindsided, we just know okay, they could just throw curveballs at us every season.
Like like if the
there'll be a
new
pattern.
the new seasonal thing is like just a tiny little bit part of the game, but then they've just completely reworked like the hub or something like that. Like
Maybe the space rig gets invaded. I don't know.
yeah, like there's suddenly like a living like growth on the pod, which slowly grows throughout the season. Which I've just
There's like something in the heart of the space rig that's like growing.
yeah, you can like see it if you use the wormhole potion and look at the rig. Like you can see it like overtaking it.
Oh my god, terrifying.
Yeah, but like it's just a bunch of ideas, and really like so far, obviously the robot ones have been cool, but it's been robots and then robots again. We've yet to actually see how far and wide the seasonal stuff is going to take us, and that's why we are hella hyped for season 3.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely more excited for season 3 than I was for season 2.
Yeah. Season 2 really just was like, and I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. Season 1, part 2. It really just was. It's like we've got primaries, now we've got secondaries. We've got robot, now we've got smaller robots. Well, obviously not smaller robots, but like warnings, and I guess a bigger robot. But yeah, it is basically identical.
So, I guess that puts us in a position where we can say we can reasonably expect from Season 3 is something entirely new.
Yeah.
And some more certainty towards the future.
Yeah.
That's what we can guarantee, I think. I don't know how it wouldn't on those things. I'd be pretty worried if it didn't.
And we won't really know the details.
Do you think there'll be new DLC again?
Yes, definitely. I think DLC
I think so too.
is going to be a staple of every season from now on, and I don't blame them, right? Like, obviously, they get money from when people buy the game, and more people are buying the game, but at this point, they need to kind of tap into the people that are playing the game a lot, and DLCs is their way of doing that, right? Like, whenever a new season comes out, and this was like even before seasons as well, they were doing it, DLC, we buy it immediately. Right, we immediately get it because we want all the cosmetics of the game and we want our dwarves to look good. Therefore, we get DLC.
And I want to give them money.
Yeah, that too. Like I don't feel bad. I mean, you know what I feel bad for doing? Getting the game on sale, right? Yeah, like
I feel bad that I don't just have my bank account funneling money directly towards Ghost Ship at every given moment.
Yeah, like it fills us with like we're happy to contribute and we gain DLC from it. So
yeah, some of their highest quality work, to be honest.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah,
but that's not to discredit stuff that they put in game. I think they put. What the hell is that?
I think that's someone really playing really loud music outside.
Oh my god. Well, there you go. That's just ruined everything.
Yeah, copyright strike.
My room is not soundproofed.
Well, mainly because my window's wide open. Because I thought the outside would be quieter than inside.
Oh, we need to wrap this up. But do you think we can expect any more additions, such as, anything along those lines?
Well, I think wildcard editions. I think we'll call them. I think that.
Yeah.
But like, did we have one season 1 really?
Let me think. That's a good point. I could probably just find season 1 patch notes quite easily. Try and think.
I'm gonna close my window.
Sorry about that, everyone.
Yeah, sorry. I think it might actually be a place just playing music.
Something to do with the Jubilee, right?
Yeah, it's probably Jubilee Party at a pub down the hill. Which is, if you can figure out where a pub down the hill is in England, you'll know where I live. And a hint, if you don't know England, there's pubs everywhere. Every corner of every place.
That useful.
Yeah.
Okay, I found the season 1 patch notes.
Alright.
I mean, the whole thing was a bit of a curveball at the time.
Obviously, yeah.
God, it's just weird seeing that. What the hell? Like, the whole season terminal looks so different.
Don't do that.
Right, that's a good point.
But yeah, basically, I mean, I think if we were to expect what we didn't expect, then it wouldn't really be the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, Phase Unite wasn't.
There were any curveballs in season 1.
Yeah, I think it might be because even though I don't think, I mean, Phase Unite was just a short, not really short term. It was a small long term solution to an issue, right? So if they were to add a new thing, then it would be
It's called my friend. It's called a promotion tier.
Honestly, yeah. No, it would.
Issue in my opinion.
It would be a kind of small, like, theoretically, like, Phase Unite is like not that big of a thing. You know what I mean? It's not game changing, really. I mean, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. It was a very good addition.
It's a boon for new players. We want a boon for veterans.
Yeah,
it's called
pretty much.
Onyx tier.
Well, no. Do not just add new tiers, right? Because that is not a Phase Unite solution, right? I'm gonna.
No, not new tiers. It's the one where it just goes up by number.
All right, yeah.
it's either that or it goes back to the beginning.
Maybe, yeah. And I think really black would probably be a pretty good color for its
Onyx.
yeah,
Or
Onyx
jet.
tier, and
Onyx.
that would just add it on and on and on and on and on every time you promote. And I really do think that would be the way to go for that, yeah, because that is an issue, right? Like they addressed the issue of people not actually being able to afford to buy cosmetics at the shop using Phasionite. Like obviously you could anyway, but like
Now just the issue of us having too much money and overcharge us for new
well, yeah.
promotion tiers.
Yeah, and
Charge us Phasionite. Charge us Phasionite for Onyx tier promotions.
don't do that.
Why not?
Because that's not what Phasionite's for, Harry.
Not much. Like
No,
20?
seriously though. No. That's not what Phasionite is for. But, yeah. Literally, that is it. It is a relatively small, game-changing fix. Like, people, it's like, oh, it's not like fully game-changing, but like, you know, the amount of cosmetics people can buy now that they couldn't before. So people are customizing their dwarves completely new. But then, yeah.
Bro, you turn how game changers be for me. I can play double XP missions again. I can want to.
Yeah, seriously, like it's like DLG, please stop.
Oh, go ship games, please.
Yeah, stop doing.
Acknowledge me.
Stop doing your
I'm away
veterans.
145.
Stop doing your veterans dirty. Literally, it takes so little to
You'd be doing the new players a favour by not overloading with more shit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bit too crude of a way to phrase it. Maybe
It's
more
not
polite,
actually.
but give me my promotion tiers.
Yeah, and like it would. Honestly, it would fit into that slot so much. Not that I think that slot is really even a thing, but like it would.
Well, that's another thing that season 3 can prove if we're going to get some kind of wild card every season.
Yeah, and I think it would also be the wildest of cards, considering that would be an addition for veteran players, which they've never added.
You just don't get that shit.
Yeah.
Except when they added more promotion tiers, because there was a point where it was just gold, I think.
Yeah.
Don't do that again. Do what we're saying, and an infinite one, so you never have to touch it again.
Yeah, and job done. You know what I mean? Same with Phasionite. Just literally add it, call it a day, right? It will be so nice to everyone. Please, I'm making a video on it at some point.
Oh yeah, you are.
It's probably going to be the next video of that variety.
That's going to be the next video.
But no, the next video is going to be a tier list, and I think that we're going to be wrapping up. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching Barrow Vision podcast.
How do we do the stupid rock and stone like and subscribe routine?
I think that did it. I think that you know, that's how we do it.
Yeah, the idea is that we sort of tell you to like and subscribe by telling you to rock and stone because they're actually the same thing. Which means rock and stone, like and subscribe.
Well, you're not coming home.
Clicking the bell is slapping the dice. I said that in the last video. Leave a comment. Is tipping the Lloyd.
No, that's being a member later on when we have that. I don't know how you get that.
Okay. Commenting is buying
us around.
Pretty special.
Yeah. But thank you for watching, and goodbye.
I love you all.